Hey there. Thanks for being here. And still working on the software issue, and I'll get that figured out someday. So, anyways, I thought I'd just grab my electric and do a quick couple things that I think is important for electric. I know there's like technique exercises and all sorts of stuff. You put on a cleaner sound, so and you can see. So I think this is called Spider. I should probably get my metronome out and do with the metronome. Let's see, get my metronome here. So I'm gonna do this. I do this about 90. So I'm going. I think it's called Spider, or what I've seen people call it. It's a great exercise. What I like to do is when I get to the end is go up one fret and go backwards. So I'm alternate picking down, up, down, up. What I like about this exercise, you can do it while you're watching TV or just kind of vegging, because it's a physical movement. So you're just working on getting this part and this part. Once you get this down, then you can speed up and I say once you get it down, you could speed up, and then you could just play along while you're watching TV or something like that. Because really, you're just working on keeping the physical part of it going. This is what you want. And then, yeah, so I know 80 is kind of fast. Probably if you haven't done, I call it quasi-chromatic. That's what we were taught at GIT. So if you haven't, you could always check out. I'm sure there's a video there on that has a quasi-chromatic, talks about that. So I typically start that at 40. If you've never done these before, so this is at 40. So I'm just going down on these. So until you get it better, I wouldn't speed up. You should train your fingers to kind of play these. Lay on that one. And then what I like to do, I always go up and go backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2. So 5. And then when you get down to the bottom, of course I mess it up. So then once you get that idea, then you start alternate picking. So down, up, down, up. So a little more challenging to think about. But once you get this going, then you can start cranking it. And when I was doing this, I was doing it 15 minutes with a timer, which is great. Our phones got the timers and the apps. This is a free app, Tempo app. I love using. Alright, so that was quasi-chromatic. So I'm just going to go over a couple things here that I see in a number of my students, their struggles, and so one of them is bending, and then bending's not easy. I always recommend, like, typically I'm going to bend out of the pentatonic. It sounds really cool. It was so pentatonic, and so then I like to bend on the first 3 strings. So first string, second string, third string, and then typically when I'm bending with my middle and my ring finger, just to kind of help support. So you notice my thumb's hooked over the top, kind of help leverage that. So the picking hand is really, I'm just muting over here, and then I'm also doing muting with my first finger. So that's the tip for the bending there. So not so much bending with my first finger, all the bending is with these two guys. Now if I'm bending with my, on this fret, you know, 5th fret here, pentatonic, I'm in A minor pentatonic, I'd be doing. So I can bend each of these strings. So when you're doing bends, my suggestion would be start out with like quarter step bends, which is basically just, so that's quarter step bends. So I'm bending with my first finger and pulling that down. And so then so, and then you can go, so that's a half step bend. So half step is just 1 fret higher. Full step bend would be 2 frets higher. So that's the same note as this. They're both E's. So when you're doing your bends, you want to get that in your ear, the pitch that you're bending to. So I like to do a live vibrato so the vibrato is basically just tiny bends, if you ever wonder. So the vibratos, and it could be, you just have to be careful that you don't go purposely bending out of tune here. And so you want to make sure when you're doing your vibrato, you bring it back to center, which would be center, if this is E here. However fast you want to do your vibrato. Typically your vibrato is like an 8th note or a 16th note. So 8th note would be like 2 beats, if you're doing 2. Or 16th note would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my suggestion for vibratos, my suggestion for vibratos would just be to listen to your favorite artists and just go for mimicking, copy. Let's say mimic, and maybe not so much copy, but I mean, at first we're gonna copy our favorite artists, our favorite guitar players, and then eventually we'll get into come up with our own ideas. That's the idea. And so if you lump in a bunch of different guitar players together, then you come up with your own style, because you don't sound like all of them together unless you just focus on one player, which I don't recommend that, but you can. Alright, so that's some bend stuff, and I'm sure there's some more bend stuff. I'm sure some on the website, and you can, even on the YouTube channel, my channel, you got some bend stuff there. You can go check that out, and I'll try to find a link to that, but there's no guarantee on that. Anyhow, so I want to jump into a little bit of the triads. So how triads are used and made, and they're super important. I'm just going to start in the key of C. So C, I like to do, actually, let me start in the key of A. My apologies. So A, blues, because then you got D is your 4 chord. 5 chord is E. And I'm just playing the first 3 strings of the chord. The basic triad is just 3 notes. It's the root, 3rd, and 5th. So I'm just doing major chords. So let's start with 3, 5, 1, and this is the 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. So basically this is kind of like an inversion, because A would normally be like this: A, C sharp, E. But first inversion would be and third inversion or second inversion. My apologies. Be up here. So similar to this is your. So similar to this A down here. So and so that's D because I'm on a D note right here, and there's my F sharp and A. So that's a root, third, fifth, and then I got the root, third, fifth for E, and then so I think it's really important, and it's helped me out a lot for playing songs and learn lead, is to be able to focus on triads. And not necessarily in that position always, but that's a good place to start. So even if I was in the key of G, I'd be in D, and then E, I'm sorry, it's just C. So 1, 4, 5, 4, 1. So G, then C, then D. And need a sweat dripping down my forehead right here. All right, I hope that makes sense. And so my suggestion would be is to play A, and there's many different places, 1, 4, 5 and A. So, and then D would be, and E would be. I just go up for E and D, and D and E. It's 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 are just a whole step away. So this is 4, 5, and then 1. So I'm basing everything off of A, D, E, back to D. So I'm just doing triads. So we covered the D's. You do D up here. Play down here, same. So the E would be, or I could play it down here. Same thing here. Octave is same notes. Those are B and E. G sharp here. So G sharp. So I just did. So the E, D, A. So there's probably quite a few songs that do that. So the one I'm thinking of, sounds like a Steppenwolf song. I can't tell you the name of it. I know I've played it before in the past. So anyways, so I'm just playing these chord shapes, and if I put my clean sound on, so I got. So I sang it a bit. I would remember what it is, but I can't recall the name of the Steppenwolf song. So anyways, and so see what other things. So my suggestion, just do 1, 4, 5 in whatever key you're doing your song in, and I just stuck with A because A is pretty common. So if I A, D, E, so I got A here, I got A here, and I also got A here or down here. When I say down, it's just, I know sometimes it's confusing. This could be down, but it's actually up. Because you're high in, just think in terms of pitch. I know it's confusing. You go this way, you go down. This way is up. Same thing with just think in terms of pitch. Alright, and so I'll get this thing figured out, and so next week we'll be live, and so be able to ask questions, and I'll be able to answer those live. And my apologies for not being able to get that together today. So hopefully this will be enough to get you started. So we covered the triads. So D, I did the key of E, A, sorry, key of A triads. So A and then D and E. And then we did a little bit of the, what do they call it, spider, or I call it quasi-chromatic. Great finger exercise. Another cool thing I just thought of would be how you get better at chord changes. I did have that question asked. And the best thing to do is just repetition. So I cannot do this with my other hand, my right hand, because it's not coordinated to do this. So my left hand is coordinated to play these chord shapes through repetition. And that's the best thing to do is repetition. And that's the only way I can play these chords that fast. So I'm kind of forming, and eventually you get to the point where you just have to kind of form the shapes in the air. Alright, that should do it, and I'm going to stop it right there. You guys are awesome. Thanks again for watching. And please like and subscribe if you get a moment. Thanks again.